We're recording, so I'm ready.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started this evening with the City of Centerton Board of Zoning Adjustment for June 2nd, 2020 with a roll call.
Amber Beal.
Here.
Tiffany Morris. Jeff Seifarth.
Here.
Joey Engel.
Here.
Devin Murphy.
Here.
Gary Harris.
Here.
Ty Manning. Not here yet anyways. And then Craig Langford is not here yet. That's everybody.
All right, just in case I miss, as Craig noted, he would be late and not sure on Ty. So if I miss them when they come on, will somebody kindly remind me and let me know, and then we'll count them going forward, okay?
It looks like Craig, I'm sorry. It looks like Craig has joined us. I'm working on promoting him to a panelist so he can speak.
Okay.
Craig, are you there?
All right, we'll give him just a second to get started, but in the meantime, we do have a quorum, so we can go ahead and get started with the first item on the agenda this evening. Is the approval of the minutes from our BZA meeting from 4/21 of 2020.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of April 21, 2020.
This is Joey. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anyone that's opposed? All right, next on the agenda this evening is we've got two items on new business this evening, and both of those involve a public hearing. And so the way that we do our public hearings is we'll open it up to the public. We'll have a brief statement by the applicant, and then from there we'll have some discussion and from our staff along with our commissioners. And then from there, we'll open up to the public, in which we will ask you, as it was stated, to either raise your hand, be recognized, or if you're on the phone, I believe it was an asterisk and a 9 to get started. So first on the agenda this evening is public hearing. It's for variance 2003, Tuscany Phase 4, lot width reduction from 80 foot to a 70-foot minimum. And so with that, I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
This is Joey. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for variance 2003.
This is
Devin,
Amber.
I'll second.
A motion, and we have a second. Is anyone opposed? All right, the public hearing is now open. Is the applicant here to give us an overview? Whenever you speak this evening, what we ask is that you give us your name. If you happen to be the applicant, if you're speaking from the public, we ask that you give us your name and your address for the record. So with that, is the applicant on to give us an overview?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Phil Slope with Slope Engineering. To give an overview, we applied initially for a variance of allowing lots in phases 3 and 4 of Tuscany subdivision to be as small as 60 feet wide. The variance was never for a smaller lot. They were always over the 8,500 square foot minimum, but we had initially asked for lots to be as small as 60 feet. We've heard there's been some opposition, so we've revised that submittal and that request to be a 70-foot wide amount. And there are 48 lots in phase 4 proposed, and we're asking for, there are 36 lots that would be down to as small as 70 feet. Actually, only 14 of those 36 would be at 75 feet or greater. When we made the request, we really asked for just the lot width. And the reason for that is that the way the property is shaped, we have enough depth to provide the minimum lot size. And so we're not asking for any higher density. We're just asking for a narrower lot along the street. So that's our request.
Thanks, Phil. Diane, this is yours, correct? Could you go ahead and give us an overview from a staff perspective?
Yes, this one is mine. I'll do a quick overview because I know there are several people that want to make comments. As Phil stated, their original request was for in phases 3 and 4. It has been revised to just phase 4, wanting a reduction of lot width from 80 feet to 70 feet. Now, to give you a little bit of background on Tuscany, there's been kind of an interesting history with Tuscany. Of course, the first phase had very large lots. It has always been zoned R2, but they were more, almost R1 type lots. And on June 24th of 2014, you guys did grant, the Planning Commission granted conditional approval of preliminary plat for phase 2 and 3. And then on October 24th of 2017, they took phase 2 and split it in half. So now we have phase 3 and 4. Because I know there was some confusion at first from some of the citizens because there were only supposed to be 3 phases. Well, phase 2 got split in half, so we ended up with 3 and 4. And originally, phase 3 consists of 41 lots. Now, the original phase 4 started out as 41 lots also, and now it's going to be 48 lots. So they're adding about 7 more lots in phase 4, but it is still about 3 units per acre. Like Phil stated, they are still meeting the 8,500 square foot for the parcel. Most of them are still well above that. They're just going to be a skinnier lot. And let's see. Now, Phil, you said that there were only 14 lots in phase 4. Well, I had counted 36 of them in phase 4. That would be 70 or below 80. I mean, they're not all 70. Some of them are like 75, but they are under the 70. And Phil, I'll let you answer that. I see you got your hand up over there.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. You're right. We are asking for 36 lots below 80 feet. I was just trying to point out that 14 of those 36 are 75 feet or wider.
That is true. I just wanted you to be able to respond to that.
Thank you.
Okay, and then covenants were recorded for the remaining phases of Tuscany on February 5th of 2019. So those are the most recent covenants that we have.
Hey, Phil, would you mind muting your mic, please? I think we're getting some feedback.
And Nicole, if you could scroll all the way to the end so that the commissioners can see. Of course, I was dumb and put it all the way at the end. Go back up. There we go. Here you could see the lots, which I just noticed now is reversed. So take your image and think backwards. What's on the left is supposed to be on the right. I just noticed when I apparently was moving things around, it got flip-flopped. So all of the lots there on the left should be on the right-hand side. But he did also provide a table of what the width is of the lots that are under the 80 feet. So that way you guys can see that. Like I said, that's just kind of the brief overview. If you guys want to hear comments from the public before you guys go over all of the different grounds that it has to meet, that would be perfectly fine.
I'm assuming that 206 and 207 are the corners. Is that correct?
Yes, they are, again, supposed to be on the right-hand side, but they are in the little knuckle there so that, those are narrower. They can be 80 feet. They have to be at least 80% of the width when they're at that setback. And I'm sorry I didn't notice that was flipped around until now. I've changed it about 5 times today.
There's a question from Miss Schaffner that she sent an email today, and she just wanted to make sure that you all received that. Be planning today.
Yes, it has been received, and it is. I did put it in Dropbox, and it is also in this presentation. So yes, it has been received. Sorry, I did not notify her. It's been a little bit nuts.
before we open up to the public, are there any questions from any of the commissioners that we may be able to answer that may actually answer some of the questions that we're about to hear?
I'm just looking at it. It seems like those knuckle lots would have to be 64 feet at the setback to meet the 70-foot lot width. Is that correct, Diane? 80% of the frontage?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, if they're going to be 70 feet wide, yes, then they would need to be the 80% of that. In that case, it would be the 60.
So currently the 206 and 207 do not meet the frontage requirement. So likely those would have to get combined.
Yes,
Roll
those would
call
have to
call
be
and hand raised.
prepared.
Oh, yeah. Right. For the normal requirement for an 80-foot lot at 80% of width at the front setback, it would be a 64-foot. And if we were asking for 70 feet, it would be 256 feet because it would be 80% of that lot width. So we are asking for less, even less than that on those two lots. But those two lots are both at 10,000 square feet. They're well above the minimum. It's just the way the geometry orients those corner lots. So we are asking for less than the 80% on those two.
Okay, wanted to clear that up. Thank you, Phil. Hey, Phil, would you mind muting your mic when you're not talking? I think we're getting some feedback.
Okay, yeah, we'll try. I don't see how to do it on here, but we'll try.
Any other questions from any of the commissioners? All right, if not, we're going to prepare to open it up to the public. And so, as I mentioned before, what we would ask is that you state your name. We ask that you state your address. If you happen to be representing a group such as the Homeowners Association, we would ask that you also point that out as well. What we do in our public hearings is we normally ask for about a 3-minute presentation that would allow for multiple people to speak. And then, of course, if you have anything new, ask that you bring that up first so that it's easier for us as we take notes around your questions, comments, or concerns. And so with that, I'm going to start opening up. So Nicole, who's the first person to speak?
Diane, have you spoken to anyone who is a representative that should speak first? There are several people that have been.
Well, Gary Harris is the vice president of the POA. So, I mean, if he would like to go first, I think that would be reasonable. I was looking to see if the president of the POA was on here, and I don't see him currently. So we can start, if that's okay, we can start with Jerry Harris. Not Jerry Harris, Greg Harris. Sorry to confuse you, Jerry. Oh, and Anthony Williams is also the president.
I'm sorry, can you guys hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
good. Thank you. So Greg Harris, Vice President of the POA, 1420 Amore Lane here in Tuscany subdivision. And I've been kind of communicating with all of the residents and trying to organize and get everyone's sense on how we feel about this and how we wanted to stand in opposition to it. What we see here in this diagram, and it's interesting that we talk about how the density doesn't really change, but as you can see, when you add 7 new home sites to the exact same acreage, in the end, the density does change, right? The lot sizes that we're talking about and how they're large lots are effectively going to be the backyards. And we know that with these smaller lot sizes that they're requesting will also come smaller homes. And the neighborhood's now approaching about 50% capacity from when it was designed. I moved here in 2015. And when I did, I was presented with a site map of the official platting that was approved back, even preliminary approval, and we were proposed and promised this idea of this neighborhood being a more spacious R2 neighborhood. And Now seeing that what we have here is an R3 rezone in everything but name, right? When 75% of the lots will be dropped below R2 requirements, it is an R3 rezone. Whether we find a different way to get around that or not, in the end, that's what it is. And we, the community, and I think if you can see, I don't know how many people are attending, but how many letters you've received and feedback you've received, is that we all stand united in opposing this increase of home sites, which will lead to an increase in the density of our neighborhood, and it will affect us. We don't believe their contention that the market has changed fundamentally from their original design. They actually started building the largest lots, and they've been progressively moving towards the smaller lots. And that R4, that phase 4 that they're talking about, is actually already by design the smallest lots that are in Tuscany. The homes that are going in currently into phase 2 are selling quite well. And so that I don't believe, and nobody in the neighborhood believes, that there's any compelling reason why the lots need to go even smaller than what was designed. We believe that doing so will fundamentally change the nature of this neighborhood that was designed as an R2 neighborhood. And if you change our entire neighborhood, a portion of our neighborhood to R3 zoning, it will have an effect on the property values of all of us. And so I think across the board, we kind of stand unified that this is a bad idea for the neighborhood. It'll have a detrimental effect on the property owners who live here now. And we ask that all of you to, consider this. The 78 homeowners, I believe, 75, 78 homeowners now who occupy this land, that you take into consideration that this will have an effect on our neighborhood, the clubhouse, the access that was built, how many of the capacity was built for, traffic through the neighborhood, and just in general, the overall value of the neighborhood that we bought into. And we bought into it with a promise of an official recognized platting. And we ask that you require that landowner to adhere to that as he continues his development. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Nicole, who's up next? Or I guess Diane, whoever's going to open it up to the public, who would be next?
Would the president like to speak?
Hi, this is Anthony Williams. Thank you for allowing us. I live at 1300 Salata, and I am the POA president out at Tuscany. I won't belabor the point, but I echo everything that Greg spoke on. We as a community are proud of what we have here in Tuscany and proud of what it can become. And we would hate to see variances approved to take away from what we've started to create here. We consider this neighborhood to be premium for the town of Centerton, the city of Centerton, and we're developing this so we can compete with the other big guys that are near us. So I won't hold long. I'll save time for the residents if they want to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Who's up next? I think Donnie, you're the one controlling the list. Is that correct?
Yes. Next is Carrie.
Carrie, are you available to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. This is John Gelthouse. Carrie's not available this evening. I'll speak on her behalf. She's my wife. We basically looked all over Northwest Arkansas where we want to move to from Bentonville. And we picked this neighborhood because of what it offered and the size of the lots and what we thought it was going to become from what we were told. And so we moved in here in mid-April and we like it. We like the size of the lots. We like the homes. And I'm not sure who's trying to make the change to the lot change, but I've talked to one of the developers and he basically told me that he would prefer that the lot changes not happen so he could continue building the size homes he's building. And his name was Marquez or something like that. But anyway, I just talked to him yesterday And I'm not sure why we would want to change a good thing. And so anyway, I would like to voice my vote as John Gildhouse and Carrie Gildhouse at 1300 Monetary Drive to support the president and the vice president of the POA that this be denied. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, John. Donna, who's next?
Next is Anthony Williams.
Hi, this is Anthony, the POA president. I just spoke. I don't need to speak again. Sorry.
Sorry, you're at the list put you right back at the top
Okay.
again.
Okay.
Hey, Anthony, what was your street name again?
Solata, Solata.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Donna, who's next?
Phone number.
There's a call in. Looks like it has an ends in 810.
Yes.
Are you there?
Hello?
Yes. If you could just state your name and your address for us.
My name is Bob Schaffner, Shofner. My address is 518 Townview Road. I have the farm to the east of the Tuscany subdivision where the stormwater runoff runs onto my place. I am opposed to the variance to the zoning for adding more housing. We already have an issue with stormwater runoff from this development, and adding additional hard surfaces and more roofs and driveways will add to the additional issue that we already currently have. The retention pond was not designed for the extra houses, and it is not working correctly at this point. And I asked the zoning committee to consider this and do not grant variance for that, because we are having a problem with the drainage today, and we're continuing to have a problem. We've had a problem for over a decade. And we did not have a problem when Melvin Earl Caulfield farmed and when it was in farm ground. Now that it has been in this subdivision in and out of different ownership for over a decade, and the silt fences are not maintained, we are having a lot of erosion problem on my place. So I definitely need to have the detention pond looked at and upgraded before anything else can be done. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bob. And we also have your email that you sent in up on the screen that the commissioners can see as well. So thank you.
And if I could address Bob for just a moment, because I didn't have a chance to send him Rick's response. Rick is Public Works Director, and he did say during his review of the subdivision, they have addressed this issue. There will be several modifications to the outflow structures that should help in reducing, the amount of water required downstream repairs and energy dissipation. This will require an offsite drainage easement to make the repairs and install the dissipation. These improvements will be part of the next phase of the project. So I just wanted to make sure that, that was addressed for them.
Thank you, ma'am, but that's been addressed for almost a decade, and we've been told that it was going to be repaired and fixed, and we're still not having anything done. I welcome if that's going to happen, and I greatly appreciate y'all trying to address this, but at some point in time is gone on for a long time, and my patience is starting to wear pretty thin about it.
Yes, that is understandable. I'm sure that is extremely frustrating, and I will touch base again with Rick and also the city engineer and see if we can get something going that will hopefully not keep pressing your patience, because we don't want to do that. And see
right, because you've changed the water. Okay, excuse me, but you've changed the water retention on that facility or on that subdivision where from about 0.7 to about 0.2. So I have a whole lot more acre feet of water coming onto my place. So if you will address that, then that will go a long ways in easing the relationship and the issue that I'm having on our farm. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. All right, Donna, who's up next?
Brian Zank.
Hey, this is Brian Zank. I live at 1411 Tuscany Drive. And I just want to reinforce the point that when we bought in this neighborhood, we were told it was going to be the way it was. And I'm opposed to the replots. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Brian. Donna, is there another person who wishes to speak?
Yes, Brandy Miller.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay, great. Brandy and Jacob Miller, we're at 1321 Amore Lane. Just echoing the rest of the residents in Tuscany, our sentiments are we are absolutely wholeheartedly opposed to the rezoning. We bought in this neighborhood for the exact same reasons as everybody else.
Okay, thank you, Brandy. Donna, who's next?
Another John.
John, are you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is John Seslems at 1320 Tuscany Drive. Not to belabor the point, I think Anthony and Greg, our POA representation, spoke very well about all our concerns. One thing that I think when I noted that was not addressed by the applicant, we did talk about the square footage of the lot remaining the same, but we didn't highlight that square footage is to the rear. So I wanted to question the impact of the home style itself. If you narrow the lot, you have to also narrow the home and change the style of the home and the intent of the neighborhood with surrounding homes. All right. So it's not necessarily remaining within the correct square footage, just to remain within the square footage. It's also meeting the intent of the neighborhood that will also impact a change in home construction, which we feel will also negatively impact our values as well. And there again, thank you for your time and your consideration. That's John Seslems at 1320 Tuscany.
Spell your last name, John, if you don't mind.
Just put a bunch of S's, right? That's it. S-E-S-S-O-M-S.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Donna, who's next?
At this point, the only person with their hand raised is Slope Engineering.
Okay. So just from the residents' perspective, because I know we have a lot of participants.
We now have another person, Sandy.
Okay. Sandy, go ahead.
Yes, this is Sandy Kroll. We live at 1400 Tuscany Drive. We retired to Northwest Arkansas from New Mexico, and we lived in a gated community in New Mexico. And we planned to stay in this neighborhood probably the rest of our retirement days. And so we want our neighborhood to be nice. We want the homes to be of equal value and equal size as much as possible. We feel like the neighborhoods that are around us to the west have plenty of small homes where the builder could build these sort of homes over in maybe those neighborhoods. But we would definitely like to see Tuscany neighborhood stay nice, even if it's for mostly working families, that even retirees would be interested in moving into this neighborhood as they come into Northwest Arkansas. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Sandy.
All right, we have Michael.
Michael, are you there?
I am. Good evening, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, on the Planning and Commission and Zoning Board. Like others in our community, my name is Michael Gross. I live at 1301 Tuscany Drive. I also have retired from the U.S. military, and we chose Northwest Arkansas for our family. And when we searched for a neighborhood just like others in our community, we wanted a look and feel that kind of represented our desire to have larger lots. Even though it seems like a small reduction, as others have spoken, it is an increase in the overall number of lots. We have drainage issues on our parcel, and so I'm very sympathetic to hearing to our farmer neighbor that increase in homes and roofs are going to greatly impact him further. But without, just reiterating everything everyone else has said, we just like your consideration, my wife and I, as you all review this, to reject Swope Engineering's proposal. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Michael.
Now is Brent Seymour.
Brent, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hello, I'm Brent Seymour. That's all right. We're at 1401 Tuscany Drive. Nothing really much to add that my neighbors haven't already said, but we moved down from Ohio a year ago. And obviously there's a lot of neighborhoods to choose from. And we chose Tuscany for a lot of the reasons that we've already heard today. We would like it to stay that way as it grows. Everything gets affected, right? The pool usage, and things like that. So just wanted to voice our opposition. Thank you.
Thanks, Brent.
And now is Eno Konomi.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time today. My name is Eno Konomi. My wife and I just moved into 1430 Tuscany Drive just a month or two ago. As some of the other neighbors that just spoke before me, we looked around and picked this neighborhood primarily because of the size of the lot and the size of the homes and the amenities. And we also were very aware of what we thought, this neighborhood was being developed as. Having moved here from Seattle, we did a big wince when we heard that, this proposal was coming through, and having been crammed there and moving specifically here to Northwest Arkansas as a good place to raise our family with some, room around us and good neighbors and good amenities, definitely opposed to seeing this proposal. And I hope you guys will support us as homeowners in rejecting it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now is Steve.
Yeah, my name is Stephen Hawkins. We live at 1340 Solata Street. And again, want to echo everything everyone's been saying, but I also want to ask that as you guys review this and consider this, that you take your city planning hats off and take a step back and think about this from a homeowner's perspective and what you would feel like if you were promised larger lots, less homes, and purchased a home with increasing values in a nice neighborhood based upon that. And then there was this proposal that came to front. So I just ask that as you review this, you take that into consideration, not just from the city planning, but as a homeowner and from that perspective as well.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, at the moment, there's no more hands raised, though we do have a question that looks like it just got answered. So.
All right, perfect. So
now we just have another one. So Janet.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
She muted herself again.
Janet, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was just letting you know that we live at 1321 Salata Street. My husband, John, and I have been here since 2017. And again, we were told or promised that these were going to be very large, nice lots, on the average about 0.3 to 0.7 square for the acres, 0.3 to 0.7. With the new construction that has been proposed, the average size of those lots will now be 0.22, which is almost half the size of the other lots in Tuscany. And it will, to us, it would be a detriment to our home value to have these smaller homes, smaller lots. And with that comes also more traffic. The infrastructure can be impacted not only with the water, but with the roads. And also the amenities that we already have here is not dedicated to the number of residents that they would like to include. And so we want to echo that we are against this proposal and to keep it as it was when we moved in. Thank you.
Thanks, Gina. Donna, is that the last person?
There are no other hands raised at this time.
Well, just as a note, we did receive all of the emails and comments that folks sent in. They were included in our packet and available for us to review as well. If you do have something new to add, please feel free to speak up as we get ready to close the public portion of this.
We do have a comment in a question in the chat from Yalik Biru. Have you received all the written feedbacks and oppositions from the neighbors as well? And will they be part of the record of this meeting?
I want to say that the answer would be, I believe the answer would be yes to that, that are all included in our packet, including one I know we received earlier today.
Todd, are these letters published with the minutes?
No. They'll be, I mean, they're public records, so I mean, they are FOI-able. They were sent to you guys for review and help making your decisions, obviously, but they're not in, the minutes aren't a verbatim word for word, every email, every word. It's just minutes.
Perfect.
Second call for anyone else from the public that wishes to speak or make a comment.
No one yet.
And we'll do the third and final call.
I don't see anybody's hand raised. This is Joey. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to close the public hearing.
This is Tiffany. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Is there anyone that's opposed? All right, the public hearing is now closed. Did I hear one of the staff members say that Phil wanted to make a comment?
Phil, oh, well, his hand was up, then it went away. But he might want to still make some additional comments. And just to reiterate that all of the comments that were received from the public have all been included in your packets. And we've also provided a list for you guys of everybody that made a comment and their address. So that way, if we need to send something to them in the future, we have all of that information. And we do have every single person's letter, email, and everything included.
Phil, did you want to address the commission or did you want to wait until we go through the individual items here?
I'll go ahead and address now if that's okay.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I do want to just first talk about the detention pond, and I apologize to Mr. Schaffner. We haven't been the engineer for this project until just getting into phase 3 and 4, so I don't have the whole history. But I can tell you in our analysis that we do believe the pond needs upsized, not only now, but also for the upcoming phases. And so we have some deepening of that pond planned. We're planning to add capacity so that it will store more water before it's released onto his property. So we are aware of those problems, and what Rick Hudson said is right. Our drainage analysis shows that that's needed and we have it planned. So I just want to get that out of the way. And then just in general.
Bill, real quick, is the upsizing needed regardless of the variance?
Yes, absolutely. And then just in general, I know the concern has been just more lots, smaller lots, and price point for what was expected in this area. I know I can say for sure that the same size will be of house will be consistent throughout and will be larger than the smallest house in phases 1 or 2. The quality will be there as well, and the price point should be the same. So it would be a smaller lot, but that's not anticipated to change the size and quality of the houses there. And also just wanted to say that with the changes, we're still at the 3 units per acre density, or they're close. I know we're allowed 3 to 5 units per acre in the R2, and so we're not approaching a higher end density in R2. And I realize the width is being requested as a variance, but we don't feel like we're violating the intent of it, because we just feel like the intent is the size of the lots, and we're not asking for smaller sized lots. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bill. All right, we're going to go ahead and go through the 5 things that we need to consider from an element perspective. And so hopefully the commissioners have that up and are able to view it here. Of course, the requested variance must be evaluated upon its own merits with respect to the 5 elements outlined below, which are findings and fact. Then each variance requested will either be granted or denied by the Board of Zoning Adjustments. So now we're going to go ahead and start the deliberation. The first one is the preservation of intent, that the variance, if granted, is consistent with the purpose and intent of the regulations for the district in which development is located. No variance shall have the effect of permitting a use in any district that is not a stated permitted use, accessory use, or conditional use of that particular district. And so with that, I will read the applicant's response. The applicant's response was, this project still proposes moderate density single-family lots as intended in the zoning code because of increasing lot prices and homes not being placed on smaller lots all through this area. The reduction in lot width is still very consistent with the intent of zoning code and prior phases of the project. The staff comments, the intent of the zoning district is to maintain 3 to 5 dwelling units per acre with consistent minimum lot width across the community, preserving buffers between structures and maintaining pervious green space proportions as defined by the Centerton Code. And with that, I'd open up any of the commissioners with their thoughts on the preservation of intent.
Jeff, this is Joey. I'm on this specific item. I'm going to agree that it does meet the intent. We're not changing anything. Single family homes. The dwelling units are well within the R2 specifications.
Thank you, Joey. Is there anyone that differs from Joey or does not believe that with the preservation of intent as far as the purpose of this? Is there anyone that disagrees? So Todd, we're going to consider that this one does meet the preservation of intent. Okay, next thing for us to consider is the exceptional circumstances, that exceptional, extraordinary, or unusual conditions or circumstances applying to the lot, parcel, structure, or intended use to exist that do not apply to other properties or uses in the same district which are unique to the individual property under consideration. The applicant's response: the exceptional circumstance would simply apply to the fact that this phase is being built at a much later time than the first phases. Typical yard sizes and lot coverage by homes expectations are very different now than before, despite being in the same subdivision. Staff findings: distinctive or unusual or unique circumstances or physical features of the parcel have not been identified that would deprive the owner of substantial rights enjoyed by other properties in the neighborhood or surrounding district. And so with that, I would open it up to the commissioners on the exceptional circumstances.
This is Joey again. I'm gonna say that there are no exceptional circumstances for this property. It was previously platted. It was purchased by whomever this time, and it seems that this is strictly for financial benefit.
This is Jerry. I agree.
Are there any of the other commissioners that do not agree with Jerry and Joey, or have any other comments in regards to this?
This is Tiffany. I'll just say that I agree with Joey, but I agree specifically because the exceptional circumstances are modifying the lot and parcel specifically, not the time period. So when you look at the language here, it's specifically for that reason that it's not an exceptional circumstance.
Thank you, Tiffany. If there's no other comments from the commissioners, then Todd, this one is going to be that no, we do not find any exceptional circumstances. The next thing for us to consider is the hardship, not grounds for variance, that the special conditions and or circumstances do not result from the intended or proposed actions of the applicant. No variance may be granted solely on the basis of economic gain or loss. The applicant's response is nothing about this request is due to actions of the applicant. The change in lot width is if due to exceptions of lot buyer and homeowners, not because of any financial gain that might be achieved. The staff findings: no exceptional circumstances or distinctive features of the property found to exist.
Again, I'll echo my sentiments on the previous item B. This is solely based from the applicant developer, and there are no exception or no hardship for this one. No exceptional circumstances.
Any commissioners disagree with that or wish to offer up anything else? Todd, we're going to, on this one, that no exceptional circumstances are on this one as well. The next one is the preservation of property rights. That literal interpretation of the provisions of this ordinance would deprive the applicant of substantial rights commonly enjoyed by the properties in the same district under the terms of this ordinance. The applicant's response: this project would not satisfy the current market for homeowners without the change requested. This property could be zoned to R3, but a variance was preferred since lot sizes are the same or larger. Staff findings: no exceptional circumstance or distinctive features of the property found to exist.
Joey again, to be fair with the intent of this question, I think staff copied and pasted their answer from the previous one. But I'm not sure that any property rights would be infringed upon by granting this variance.
Yeah, I'd have a tendency to, agree with Joey on this one, especially since the fact they, there's still going to be, larger lot sizes still within the 3 to 5. They'll still have to follow the same covenants, as far as what they're building in the neighborhood. Does anybody disagree with that one? So Todd, I think we're okay on this one. And then the last one for us to consider is the absence of detriment, that granting the variance requested will not create substantial detriment to the adjacent property or that will materially impair or be contrary to the purpose and spirit of the chapter on the public interest. The applicant's response: no adjacent property would recognize substantial detriment due to the narrow lot widths. The staff findings, reduction in lot width may affect the surrounding properties. The reduction may impact the character of the neighborhood. I'm not sure that I'm completely aligned with it impacting the complete character of the neighborhood, especially with some of the larger lot sizes. I think I counted up 22 that would be less than 75 feet. But I'd be interested in the commissioner's comments or opinions on this one as well.
This is Joey again. The way I read this one is more based on the zoning as what we're talking about here. But I'm with you, Jeff. You have subdivisions that have varying home sizes within them all over the town. So I agree with you.
Anyone disagree with that one? So, Todd, I think there's
clarify-
no. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, Jeff. Just to
Go ahead.
clarify, I think all of these lots, if I'm understanding correctly, are still meeting the minimum square footage for an R2. So I think that would be the main reason that I would agree with you and Joey.
That's correct. They would all be at or above the minimum for the R2. So Todd, we're going to agree there's no absence of detriment on this one. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from any of the commissioners in regards to this request?
Jeff, this is Jerry. Of the 5, how many did we agree with, and how many? Can you give us a total there?
We were 2 were, I guess, no, and 3 were yes.
That is correct. Not necessarily, that's not how the point system works necessarily, but that is true.
Does that help, Jerry?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
I guess I should say it's not a point system.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have a number that we have set. You know, historically, I think we've done some with 3, we've done some with 4. You know, so we just have to consider each one of them. You know, and then of course, taking into consideration, you know, what the you know, what was presented before us. You know, the letters, also the folks that spoke this evening, also taken into consideration, you know, as we look at this as well.
Jeff, this is Jerry. Just as a comment, based on all that we've heard from the adjacent property owners, I am opposed to granting this variance. That's just my comment.
Okay. All right. We'll get there in just a second, Jerry. Thank you. Any other comments, questions, or concerns from any of the commissioners?
Jeff, I will note, and it's up to you whether you want to acknowledge this since we closed the public hearing, but we do have a hand raised. It's John, a Tuscany resident.
I'll allow him to speak. John, are you there?
Yes, Jeff, thank you. I just wanted to circle back. I was trying to listen along to understand the process, and there was a comment made about preservation of property rights and the builder having to build according to the current covenants. However, the builder and developer own a majority vote in the neighborhood and have complete control of the covenants. So instead of having to build to the covenants, they are able to change those covenants at any time to amend to whatever home sizes or materials they choose to without residential vote or consent.
Thank you, John. If you can just let Todd remind us of your last name, just so we have it on.
That's John Sessoms, S-E-S-S.
All the S's. I got you.
All the S's.
All the S's. Just put down a bunch of S's and you can't go wrong. Right?
All right. Thanks, John.
On that topic, there's also a comment from a James Fennell who was unable to get the dial-in to work. Who said the house next to me at 300 Sicily is formatted similarly to what is being recommended. It is narrow and deep. The builder has been unable to sell that home since it was built prior to 2015. I am concerned that the proposed houses will create more of these problem unsaleable houses. Despite the lots not being smaller, they certainly appear smaller from the street.
Thank you, Donna, and duly noted for the record. Okay. Anything else from staff?
I think you guys covered it pretty well. Don't think there was anything else missing, but you know, this is the quickest way for me to realize that, wow, I should really proofread or give it to somebody else to proofread before I stick it out there. There was one person that was different. They sent in a comment that wasn't from Tuscany. They didn't have to do with drainage. Her name was Stacy. If she's listening, I apologize. I'm going to butcher your name. Sally, S-T-A-H-E-L-I, and her comments are in y'all's packet. But she lives in Terra Knolls, which is a subdivision near there.
It's Staley.
Thank you so much. I knew I was going to butcher it, so thought I'd apologize before. She has concerns about more car traffic and higher density traffic. They're next to Terra Knolls. So I just wanted that to be mentioned. And there was another gentleman. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to say thank you.
Welcome. And there was another gentleman. His name is Bryce Cheatham. He lives at 230 Townview Road. And he also has concerns with drainage and traffic and how many entrances there would be on Townview Road, if there's be one or two. And, you know, just concerns about traffic. And again, drainage, there's some drainage issues there at Main Street and Townview entrance area. Oh, thank you, Nicole.
All right.
I just wanted
Anyone
to
else?
make sure those were covered.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else from staff or planning commissioners? All right. If not, then it's time for the motion. And so we have two options on the motion, and the suggested motion language is in your packet to either grant or deny the variance request. And so with that, I would entertain a motion, and Todd will do a roll call vote.
This is Jerry. I make a motion to deny Tuscany Phase 4 lot width variance.
This is Joey. I'll second. Yep.
We still need a second. I think everybody got cut off there.
It was me or Amber. Todd, you can pick.
It's close. I'm taking, you know, I'm going to take ladies first.
I understand.
All right, so we have a motion and we have a second to deny the request. And with that, we'll do a roll call vote.
All right. Jerry Harris,
Yes.
Craig Langford,
Yes.
Devin Murphy,
Yes.
Joey Engel,
Yes.
Amber Beal,
Yes.
Tiffany Morris,
Yes.
and Jeff Seifar.
Yes. All right, thank you to the public and the residents, along with the commissioners and Phil on that one. So next on the agenda this evening is our second public hearing. This is for variance 20-04, Petromark, and they're asking for a 0 lot line Is the applicant here to give us an overview? Donna, do you know if the applicant's here?
He is there. I just gave him permission to speak.
Can you
This
hear
is
me?
Diane. There we
Yes,
go.
we can
There's
hear you,
Dustin.
Yes, it's Dustin Riley with CEI. I'm representing Petromark on the variance request. We are requesting a reduced lot line because there's not enough property between the two buildings to meet the 20 feet requirement. And I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
All right, thanks, Dustin. Before we move on to staff comments, I would like to go ahead and open up the public hearing with a motion.
This is Amber. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for variance 20-04 Petromark.
This is Craig. I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? All right, let's see. Diane, this one's you as well?
Yes, y'all get to have me again. This property is located at 1200 East Centerton Boulevard. It is already developed. As you can see from the photo up here, Nathan Cellar is on the left, and then there's Mint Dental and Circ Physical Therapy. There will be a track split that is going to go before the Planning Commission directly after this meeting. The track split will result in the 0 lot line, and that is why they're asking for that. Again, it is already developed, so the buildings are already there. They are going to be providing an access easement also. And the main reason why they couldn't just split it down the middle is because there is a drainage swale that is between the buildings, and the drainage goes with the Mint Dental and Circ. Nicole, if you scroll down, I think there is a picture that they can see of that drainage. Well, it's not great, but you can see the dark spot there. That is the drainage. Thank you, Nicole.
Hey, Diane, this is a question. If they split it and granted a drainage easement, would they have the separation? Probably not.
What was that? It would be, I believe it is 20 feet there. So it would be 10 foot on either side. So it would still be awkward, but it would be.
Yeah, how big's the drainage easement?
Let me see. Let me see if I can look at it on mine better here.
Dustin, if you know, you can answer.
Yeah, if you know, Dustin, jump in. Oh, he's abandoned me.
Are you asking if there's a drainage easement between the two buildings?
Well, there
Well,
is that drainage.
I'm asking why we couldn't split it down the middle of the drainage easement or the drainage swale and grant an easement on the west side, or would it still not meet the setback requirement?
No, it still wouldn't meet the setback requirements. I understand what you're saying though. So there's only just under 12 feet between the two buildings right now.
Okay.
So we're offsetting to one side. Honestly, I mean, I believe we could split it down the middle and create an easement, but it still
cleaner this
doesn't.
way. Yeah.
Sure.
All right, we will go ahead and open it up to the public. If there's any one that wishes to comment or ask any questions, please feel free to do so at this time.
There are no hands raised at this time.
And again, you can either, if you're virtual, you can join by raising the hand button, or you can do an *9 if you want to raise your hand and you're on the phone. So this will be the second call for anyone that wishes to speak from the public.
No hands raised, nothing in question and answer.
Okay, we'll just do a third and final call. Don, if there's no one else that raised their hand, then I'd go ahead and entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
This is Tiffany. I'll make a motion to, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Donna.
No hands raised, no Q&A.
Okay. This is Tiffany. I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
This is Joey. I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there anyone that's opposed? All right. Let's go ahead and move forward to our questions. Nicole, I think you're driving. Perfect. All right, again, we're going to go through our same elements that we did on the previous. And I'll go ahead and just read that the requested variance must be evaluated upon its own merits. So with respect to the 5 elements outlined below, which are findings of fact, and then each variance requested is either granted or denied by the Board of Zoning Adjustment. All right, the fact and findings elements are to be used to clearly establish the basis for granting or denying approval of the requested variance from Centerton Zoning Code per section 14.04.04C. All right, preservation of intent, that the variance if granted is consistent with the purpose and intent of the regulations for the district in which development is located. No variance shall have the effect of permitting use in any district that is not a stated permitted use, accessory use, or conditional use of that particular district. And the applicant's response to variance is consistent with the purpose and intent of the regulations for the district in which the development is located. Staff findings, intent of the zoning district is to maintain required building setbacks consistently across the community, preserving buffers between structure and maintaining previous green space proportions as defined by the Centerton Code. The tract split includes 12.11 feet of space between the buildings, all located on proposed tract F. So I agree with this one, that the preservation intent is still there. Does anybody disagree with me on this one?
No.
So Todd, we're going to be yes on that one, that we're okay. Exceptional circumstances, the exceptional, extraordinary, or unusual conditions or circumstances applying to the lot, parcel, structure, or intended use exist that do not apply to other properties or uses in the same district, which are unique to the individual property under consideration. Applicant's response, there are no exceptional, extraordinary, or unusual conditions or circumstances applying to the lot, the parcel, the structure, or intended use exists that do not apply to other properties or uses in the same district, which are unique to the individual property under the consideration. Staff findings simply state that there is a drainage swale between the proposed tract E and tract F that creates an unusual circumstance that does not apply to other properties or uses in the same district, and it is unique to this property. So I think if that case, the drainage swale would be the exceptional circumstance in this particular case. Does anybody disagree with that? Okay, so we're going to be yes, Todd, on this one, that there is an exceptional circumstance, simply just the drainage swale. All right, hardship, not grounds for variance, that the special conditions and or circumstances do not result from the intended or proposed actions of the applicant. No variance may be granted solely on the basis of economic gain or loss. The applicant's response, there are no special circumstances and or circumstances that result from the intended or proposed actions. Staff findings, no exceptional conditions and or circumstances result from the intended or proposed actions of this applicant. What do you guys think on this one?
It's kind of odd, you know, because even if going back to the drainage swale, I mean, even if the drainage swale wasn't there, it still wouldn't meet the setback requirement. Yeah, I don't know.
Tiffany's the lawyer. I'm waiting on her to weigh in.
I agree with Joey. I mean, because of if you're not going to meet the setback requirement anyway, that would be my opinion as well.
But this is, I guess, if we think about it, you know, from whether you call it a hardship or, you know, what you want to call it. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if they didn't do it this way, there's a chance they could sell it and do it a different way, even if we split it 50-50, right?
Well, yeah, but you're still not meeting the setback either way. I think this is the best way to accomplish what they're wanting to do. But, you know, if they wanted to break it off at the beginning, they should have set it up that way to sell individually, is where I was coming from.
So we lean towards no on this one then?
I'm gonna go with no, yeah.
Guys, can I weigh in real quick? This is Diane. I just received a text from Laureen. And this was her response as far as the drainage well is exceptional because it is private and it will be the responsibility of one property owner instead of both. Otherwise, we'd have drainage wells between lots all over. So just wanted you guys to hear what she had to say.
Okay, thank you. I still think it's no, I think on this one. It is an interesting piece. If there's anybody that disagrees with that, please let me know. If not, that one will be no. Preservation of property rights, that literal interpretation of the provisions of this ordinance would deprive the applicant of substantial rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district under the terms of this ordinance. The applicant's response, the literal interpretation of the provisions of this ordinance would not deprive the applicant of substantial rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district. Staff finding no exceptional circumstances or distinctive feature of this property found to exist. Adherence to the district requirement would yield the same number of lots, thus not affecting the density. Are you guys yes on this one?
Yeah, I'm good with that one.
And then the absence of detriment, that granting the variance requested will not create substantial detriment to the adjacent property or that will materially impair or be contrary to the purpose and spirit of this chapter or the public interest. The applicant's response, the variance requested will not create substantial detriment to the adjacent property and will not materially impair or be contrary to the purpose and spirit of this chapter or the public interest. And the staff findings also agree that no substantial detriment to adjacent properties will occur with this variance. The buildings and businesses currently exist on this property and no modifications are planned.
So I feel like this is the most relevant time to bring this up, but Paul on the line, I think Paul is on the line. Are there any fire code, fire ratings for that outside wall since it's X number of feet away from the other one in a commercial setting?
I would have to double check, but I believe the 10 feet, I believe. Like I said, I would have to do some checking and then, but I believe it is 10 feet.
Okay. Well, either way, if they wanted to do this, they would have to meet that code before they could. So I see no absence of, or I see no detriment. So I'm good on this one, Jeff.
Tyler, yes on this one as well. Any other comments, concerns, or questions from any of the commissioners? And anything else from staff? If there's no other comments or questions, then I would entertain a motion to either grant or deny. The suggested motion is on the screen or, of course, in your packet.
Yeah, this is Craig. There's a line in the packet that asks us to look at a couple conditions of approval before a motion.
Thank you, Craig. I got stuck trying to figure out how to quickly unmute myself. So yes, those are in there, and I'll let you guys go over those.
Thank you, Craig. Sorry about that. It's even in red. So there's two things for us to have a discussion on. The first one is this variance approval action shall be recorded on the plats, and term of approval is permanent and shall run with each subsequent lot owner, successors, and assigns. Does anybody disagree with those two conditions?
I think you have to set it up that way, or we're going to plat something that would be a nonconformity if it changed ownership. So I'm good with that.
Okay. All right, noted and accepted. So then with that, I would entertain a motion.
This is Craig. I will, based on what we have discussed, move to grant this request by Petromark to reduce the building setback by 10 feet to allow a 0 lot line for the proposed track E of Kensington subdivision zoned C2.
Joey, I'll second that.
All right, motion and a second. Todd, if you had a roll call vote for me.
Joey Engel,
Yes.
Craig Langford,
Yes.
Amber Beal,
Yes.
Tiffany Morris,
Yes.
Jerry Harris,
Yes.
Devin Murphy,
Yes.
and Jeff Seifert.
Yes. All right, thank you, guys. Nothing under other business, no announcements. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn from the Board of Zoning Adjustments.
This is Tiffany. I'll make a motion to adjourn the Board of Zoning Adjustments.
Second.
Yeah, okay.
Motion and a second one. A second, is anyone opposed? All right. With that, I will call to order the City of Centerton Planning Commission for June 2nd, 2020 with a roll call.
Jerry Harris,
Here.
Craig Langford,
Here.
Devin Murphy,
Yes.
Joey Engel.
Here.
Ty Manning is absent. Tiffany Morris,
Here.
Amber Beal,
Here.
and Jeff Seifert.
Here as well. All right, first thing on the agenda this evening is the approval of the planning minutes from 5/19 of 2020.
This is Jerry, I make a motion to approve the planning minutes of 5/19/2020.
This is Tiffany. I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? All right, the planning commission meeting, the minutes are approved. And then next on the agenda this evening is under old business, we actually have the Development 1902. This is Centerton Retail Center. Reapproval of the plans previously approved on 4/16/19. Nicole, is this you?
This is me. Just as you said, the Centerton Retail Center, which is located just east of Stoneleigh Apartments on the south side of Centerton Boulevard and Allen Road, was approved by you all a little bit over a year now and expired in April. And so initially we talked about an extension, but since it's been expired for a few months now, and it's been a while since you saw the development, we felt it warranted a reapproval from you all. The delay primarily was due to wetland delineation. They had to get determination and a permit as well for their wetlands. There have been a few changes to the plans, including they were able to meet the 4:1 side slope. You had initially granted a waiver from that, but now they're meeting that. And they've added some landscape screening around the pond so that the view shed of the site isn't a big hole in the ground. Hopefully it will be a pretty hole in the ground. And then the future building site has been rotated 90 degrees. It used to be kind of more east-west, and now it's more north-south. And Adam is here to answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you, Nicole. Are there any questions from any of the commissioners? If there are no questions or comments or concerns from any of the commissioners, then I would entertain a motion for the reapproval, if you will, of the plans as presented and updated this evening.
This is Joey. I'll make a motion to approve Development 1902. It looks like there's some outstanding comments from John, but I believe they can get those cleared up pretty quickly.
This is Tiffany. I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Is there anyone that's opposed? All right, we'll consider the plans reapproved. Things under new business. First under new business is vacation 20-01, the Shepherd property. This is in Forest Park, Phase 1, Lot 68. And they're asking for a 5-foot vacation of the 15-foot utility easement in the rear yard. Is the applicant on the phone to give us an overview, or Nicole, are you just going to cover it?
John Shepherd is available for questions.
Yes, I'm here.
Thanks, John. Nicole, do you just want to give us a quick overview?
Yes. Let me grab my paperwork. So this is lot 68 of Forest Park Phase 1, which you can see on this exhibit. They're off of Ellen Ray. The subdivision was platted, I believe, in 2012. I didn't have that in my overview report. I'll verify that in a moment, but it's been platted for quite a while. They were, yes, 2012 was Phase 1. The lots directly to the north of this lot is in Phase 2, which was platted in 2017. This lot was platted with a 15-foot utility easement in the front and a 15 utility easement in the rear yard. My understanding is that it was done this way for water and sewer, primarily in the front, and then franchise utilities to allow them extra room in the rear. The request is to vacate 5 feet of that rear utility easement, leaving the 10 feet on this lot. On all adjacent lots, it will remain 15 feet. Let's see, your action tonight is recommendation. This is ultimately a council decision, and it will go to them at their next meeting on June 9th. The purpose of the request is to reduce that originally platted utility easement from 15 feet to 10 feet on lot 68 only, to accommodate the installation of a pool. The pool, and staff has met with the building department and the applicant and has looked at various layouts to try to accommodate the pool. The pool has already been purchased, and the company is not able or willing to return it. So the applicant is before you requesting this vacation so that he can install it. Let's see. There is with the building code, there's some definitions of what constitutes the pool, and there's a bonding wire that needs to be included in the structure, because if it's damaged, there's possibility of electrocution. And then depending on the frame of the pool, the concrete may or may not need to be included in the structure in that consideration. So all that has kind of been discussed and attempted to be accommodated in this request. And so this is kind of what's before you. There is kind of an overview in your packets. The vacation process is defined by state statute. So it went to council to set a resolution for the public hearing. And then it comes to you all for recommendation, and then it goes back to council for the public hearing and their decision. We have notified the utilities and received, the applicant has received responses from all utilities, and we got confirmation on our end from a few of the locations of the existing lines. Carroll Electric has a line on the east property line, or along the east property line, about 2 to 3 feet west of the existing fence, and has requested that the side setback portion of this easement remain 15 feet. So there'll be another little Nerdle on the east side. It'll be mostly 10 feet on this lot, except the 7-foot setback area will be 15. That was Carroll Electric's request because of their line. Black Hills has a gas line along the north property line, and it, to the best of our understanding, the line is pretty close to being right on the property line. The privacy fence may or may not be on the exact property line, so that it's kind of yet to be determined if there's utilities outside of this easement on the adjacent lot, or if they're located in this easement itself. That's something we're still kind of working to determine. Carol, we know we received this exhibit from Cox this afternoon. I haven't had a chance to clarify with them, but their blue line kind of swoops in and out of the easement. I'm not sure if this is a service line or a main line, but this is what they've provided. And then AT&T doesn't have any facilities in the area. Centerton Utilities and Public Works doesn't have any objections. CenturyTel or CenturyLink didn't have any objections, but it seems like they have a line because they've quoted what it would cost to relocate their line. The owner provided an exhibit, and they're showing gas and power and Cox. So it's still, some of the pieces are still kind of coming together with exact locations and where things are. The unknown is any, future use of this, if any of the utilities need to extend different types of lines through this easement, there'll be a bottleneck. So it may be unusable in this portion of the easement across the subdivision. It was platted throughout the entire subdivision this way. So there's a 15-foot utility easement in the front and in the rear yard throughout the entire phase 1. Phase 2, however, platted it with a 10 and 10. So it was 10 feet for sewer and then 10 feet for franchise in the front. So there is no, to our knowledge, there is no easement along the lots to the north of this property. So hypothetically, they should all be on this property, and yet we're finding that they're a little bit north of it. Is all that relatively clear? Or do you have any questions up to now?
John, do you know if that's just your cable line, or do you know if that's the main feeder line?
Called 811 and there's no markings. They said there was no line at all. So that's brand new to me just a few minutes ago. I heard it when you heard it. I've had, like I said, ARCUPS came out. We called 811. We had all lines marked. The only line in our property is, if you go back to my drawing there, is my utility, my personal lines themselves. You can see on the left there, you can see the 35 feet. That's the gas line going to the main line. And what we found out about an hour before this meeting, talking with my neighbors, they allowed me to dig around. We found the property pins. The fence is actually setting on top of the pins. But the power and gas line, if you look at where they were marked by ARCUPS and everything, and by talking to them when they were out here, the lines are 3 to 5 feet on the north of my property line. So somebody missed the utility easement when they put in the lines, which that's all brand new too. Wish we could have found this out a little bit sooner. Maybe we could have done a different process.
Well, there is still a utility easement, regardless of whether the companies are in it. And there is the possibility, just so you all know, that they have private easements that we're unaware of. We just, they weren't platted with phase 2. So just so you all know.
But ARCUPS has been called twice, and there has never been a marking for Cox, and I've spoke with all reps. So like I said, that one's a brand new one to me. When
I can
Cox was
also-
out here, they showed me their box, and it's right beside the power box north of mine. So I don't understand any of that part. So that was weird.
I'll forward you the correspondence. I think they may have been a little bit confused on their end too. So we'll get that sorted out, but that's what we have right now. The information we have.
I'm gonna stop there and see if there's any questions or comments from any of the other commissioners. Nicole?
This is Joey. So just reading through it, it looks like all of the franchise utilities have no objection. Is that correct?
That's correct. Some have noted contingencies such as, relocations will be at the expense of the owner and things like that. There was, I think, early on in this process, some discussion about encroachment instead of vacation, which is a little bit different, which is why we felt the need to kind of reiterate that and make sure that the utility companies were aware that the vacation process, they're giving up their rights to that easement. They are allowed within their property owner agreements to allow for encroachments, but that's not a public process, and that is they can privately allow for that, but not through a public easement. And so since this easement is dedicated to the city as a public easement, it has to go through this vacation process. And again, that process is defined by state statute.
And just to be clear, there's an additional 15-foot public utility easement in the front of the lot, right?
Correct.
Correct. There's a 15-foot utility easement in the front of the lot with either water or sewer, sorry.
Right.
Located there. We didn't get confirmation that anybody was using that front utility easement other than Centerton Utilities.
Okay.
There we go.
Not trying to be contrary to staff, but it sounds like he's got all the sign-offs from the utilities. I mean, if they're good with it and he understands the risk, I don't see an issue.
Our consideration, and again, this is just, the planning staff's opinion, is it in the public's interest? And we feel that this may set a precedence, and we've already had a number of other questions just at this week about pools and utility easements, and doing things like this consistently throughout town creates inconsistent utility easements that can cause problems for the community down the road. This was platted for a reason to service this neighborhood and the community. And, if there's inconsistencies in the utility easements, it creates kind of Swiss cheese throughout town that may or may not cause problems. But we're just trying to think big picture and long term, and what this could mean for future owners of this property and for the utility companies and for the public generally. So that's kind of our perspective, but of course there's other perspectives in this, and you're right, the utilities have okayed this vacation, the 5-foot vacation on this single lot.
We do have a mayor who has raised his hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to add just a look. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to add a little bit more to what Nicole was talking about. I usually don't get involved with these, but they were looking for a solution to try to maybe look at what other options were available. I did speak to Mr. Shepherd's pool company. He called us, and we all talked together, and he's apparently not put too many pools here in Centerton, so he wasn't sure of our permitting process. But I just want to make everybody aware that, the actual pool itself, like she's showing there, the pool structure encroaches a foot. It's the wire the bonding wire, like Nicole described, it's encroaching in the easement. This is set for a public hearing at our council meeting. We did have kind of a brief discussion about it. Anyway, you know, and I did talk to Brian at length of this, along with Lorraine and Rob, to see, you know, if there's anything else we could do to not go through this process. And everybody felt, you know, especially Brian, he felt it was better to do the, you know, the vacation. That way there protects Mr. and Mrs. Shepherd as we move forward. You know, if somewhere down the road they sell the house, this thing's already vacated. And I do applaud Mr. Shepherd. He spent like 100 hours, you know, trying to get all the utilities to work with them. So I think, and all the property owners were in favor of it. And I just wanted to talk just a minute of support of this. And I would ask that the recommendation to the council be to approve this. And that's all I have. And I'll lower my hand.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, can you hear me?
There is also a
Yes.
Rob who has raised her hand, or his hand, if that can be a gender neutral name.
Who is that?
Or is this a public comment?
This is still the property owner. I would like to point out, I understand if I lived like in the middle of a subdivision where this would mess up a utility easement, but I'm at the very end. I got a retention pond. While speaking with all of the utility companies, because they've been now to my house 2 times dealing with this, that they're like, there's no reason for us ever. There's nothing to the west of you but a pond. There would be, because they're in a foreseeable future, we can't see what may happen, but there's no reason for us to ever add to what's there, because now everything has to be done to the front of the property, not the rear. So just kind of wanted to point that out, that looking into the future there's you can't look that far ahead, but there's a retention pond. Why would you need to add more to, where would you go with it?
They might need to serve your neighbors to the north, but if you look at the pond, it looks like the pond's in the easement too, so.
Yes, sir, you are correct.
Hey, Jeff.
There is someone else who has raised their hand requesting to speak.
Just a second, Mayor. Who wishes to speak? Or was that?
Hey, Robin?
Robin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Did you wish to speak?
Yes, please. My name is Robin Reed, and I am one of the council members, and I'm just trying to get more information, because it kind of, we as council members don't have a clue on what the variances and all that, and I'm studying that stuff, but I'm not at y'all's level yet. So I wasn't sure if you guys can explain it more, if you so choose to send it on to the council for approval, so that we understand it a little more. I think I understand a little more just listening again this evening. But the utilities that have just recently come in this afternoon, I'm kind of worried about those. And can the planning or Mr. Shepherd do their homework before Tuesday night to have the answers for us?
What questions would you have? Because I guess I'm a little confused.
Well, the encroachment, to understand that kind of stuff.
So
Because
here, I'll try to answer this, Robin. So what we're doing, there's a 15-foot utility easement that's public for any franchise utility, any public utility that can go in the rear of his lots. Water and sewer typically stay out front. Most franchise utilities now want to stay out front. So what he's asking for is a 5-foot reduction to this 15-foot utility easement, which would turn that into a 10-foot utility easement. All of the lines that have been identified on the exhibits you've seen seem to be service lines for individual properties. As part of this approval and as part of the utility company sign off, they're making it known that any relocation of these service lines, which typically would just be to his lot, would be on his own dime. And if they need to come back in there and get into that utility easement to make any improvements, and they need to tear up any of his pool, that's also going to be on his dime. Does that help?
Yes, that does very much help. Thank you.
But I do think that there needs to be a little bit of clarification, especially since he found out an hour ago in regards to cable. So, but I would say with the due diligence that Mr. Shepherd's already done, along with the a little bit of digging around today, I guess, as well, that I have no doubt that he'll try his best to try to, figure out what that cable line is, if anything. So I do think that he'll, do his best to try to do that for you guys for Tuesday night.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor
There's
Bill, did you have
also-
something else?
Yeah, I just
to
wanted to tell
add?
you, Misty Elam's on there, wanted to speak. She's one of our council members.
Misty, did you wish to speak or have a comment or question?
Right. Do you see her on
Misty,
there, Donna?
Yeah, she's on there. I think she needs to raise her hand though.
She said she can't. That's what she's texting me. Can you unmute her?
I've let her talk. She'll just need to unmute herself.
Misty, how about now?
Misty, can you unmute yourself on the?
I'm not even able to unmute her.
Well, here, let me go to plan B. Hang on. I'll get
Stand by.
clear. Hang on.
Let me see if we promote her to panelist, if that helps.
Hey, here's Misty. I put her on the phone. Can you hear her? Go ahead, Misty.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay, thank you. This is Misty Elam, one of the council members also. I just feel that I'm in kind of frustration mode with it all, because I feel like there's been so much back and forth of just misinformation. And I think us as the city has had this for a month, and the Shepherds get told today that, we have another utility back there. It looks like some of the lines are not right. So I feel like, they've put a lot of work into this, and we've kind of, so I feel like it's kind of, and I don't want to set a precedence for this stuff. I understand what Nicole is saying completely. But I feel that, we owe, a little bit more than what we've done. So, and I hope you guys understand that, because they, I feel they have done their, homework, and we've kind of, but after hearing what I heard just now, that they just found out about that this afternoon, it's just kind of frustrating on a council end, as I'm sure you're, on your side too. So I second what Mayor Bill said. I think they've put a lot of work into it, and I think we need to approve this.
All right, thank you, Misty.
Misty, I just want to very respectfully say that I think that's a mischaracterization. We also were informed today of these utility placements, and the homeowner has done a great amount of research and legwork on this, and I do commend him for that. They've done a great job. Once we got the vacation application, we sent a packet to all the franchise utilities in addition to the legwork that John did. And these are the things that we are receiving in response to that new packet. So like John mentioned, this is the first he's seen it, because when he spoke with them, they did not communicate this to them. And I don't know why that is, and we will continue doing research. But we're working very closely and tirelessly with John on this
And I
on this
appreciate that.
application. So I just wanted to clarify those things and let you know that we are doing a lot of work on this as well. And I hope you all understand that.
I think John did say he was also willing to relocate whatever had to be relocated, if I heard that correctly.
Yeah, and this is Joey. I want to point out, Nicole, on what you just said. Notoriously, franchise utilities are extremely difficult to work with. So the fact that the Mr. Shepherd got the sign offs is a feat in its own. And I know he's been working hard on it. At the end of the day, he will be responsible to relocate any utility infrastructure that's in his way. So, I think we're kind of making a mountain out of a molehill here.
I also just want to mention the vacation process itself is a very long process. And again, it's defined by state statute. And so a month really isn't a long time for this process. Unfortunately, it is. In my report, I do kind of speak to that. And I think it's designed to be kind of laborious because it's giving up rights that the community and the servicers currently have, and that should be considered seriously. So that's just, I guess, a planner's perspective. Like Joey said, the utilities have signed off on this. So that's just a thought for you all.
Thank you, Nicole. Is there any other questions or comments or even concerns from any of the commissioners? If there's no concerns or any additional comments, then I would entertain a motion for the vacation 20-01 for the Shepherd property, the Forest Park Phase 1, lot 68. And again, this would be a 5-foot vacation of the 15-foot utility easement in the rear yard, and we're essentially making the recommendation to council.
This is Joey. I'll make a motion that we approve and recommend this to council for approval for vacation 2001.
This is Craig. I second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Are there any of the commissioners that are opposed? All right, we will consider this approved. Thank you to everyone for your hard work. And I know there's a little bit more work to be done on it. So thank you to everyone for this one. Next on the agenda under new business is track splits 20-07 Petromark property, 1220 East Centerton Boulevard. It is a C2, 1.36 acres, and this is the lot that we looked at on in the Board of Zoning adjustment. Diane, do you just want to give us a quick overview?
Yes, I would. Like I said, we discussed this before. This parcel, still the same address, 1220 East Centerton Boulevard, and it's track C of Kensington Hills. And like I said, it is the location of Nathan Seller, Mint Dental, and Cirque. It is currently zoned C2. And of course, in C2, it typically has a 50-foot front setback, 10-foot side, 10-foot side street, and a 25-foot rear. All right-of-way dedication has been dedicated previously, Brighton Road back in 2004, and the extra wide right-of-way along Centerton Boulevard in 2011. They are showing a access easement that is going to be a 25-foot access easement. Nicole, if you could scroll down to the plat that I have attached there. There we go. You see it there in the center. It is a access easement, so that way when it's split, they're not splitting off anyone's access to, go between the properties. That way keep as much turning traffic as necessary off of Centerton Boulevard. They both will have access on Centerton and of course Brighton Road. They did ask for waivers, so this is something you'll have to consider for the requirement of a 2.5 acre lot. That's typically, the size of the track splits, but I mean, it wasn't even 2.5 acres to begin with. It was 1.36 for the entire tract to begin with. And like I said, you guys already voted on the variance to allow for that 0 lot line. So that's what I basically have. There are a couple little comments. I did receive a updated plat from them yesterday. I haven't had a chance to look at it for filling some questions and issues there with the Tuscany variance. But the comments are just to mention the ingress and egress easement and correct the truck acreage. It was just because of rounding issues. And then Keith Sykes has a couple of just basic cleanup comments for the plat. Nothing bad and nothing, really big, just mainly cleanup type things. So I will entertain any questions from you guys.
Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners? If not, let's go ahead and do 2 on this one, just since there is a waiver. We traditionally do that. So I would entertain a motion for the waiver from required 2.5 acres lot size for this tract split.
This is Joey. I'll make a motion to approve the waiver for the lot size.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? Someone's opposed.
I thought I heard an opposition.
There was an opposition there. It was 3 barks, I think. So then, if there's no other questions or comments, I would entertain a motion for the tract split 20-07 for the Petromart property at 1220 East Centerton Boulevard.
This is Amber. I'll make a motion to approve track split 20-07.
This is Tiffany. I'll second.
Give it to Tiffany again.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Is anyone opposed? All right, thank you. All right, on to other business. Ty is going to let his term expire. So effective June 30th, he will be off the Planning Commission. And then with that, under B, we are accepting applications. Please feel free to have folks send any, if they're interested, have them sent to the mayor. And then we'll probably do a similar process, as we've done before, as far as, having a conversation with each one of the applicants, and then, ultimately we'll make an appointment. So with that, Ty is going to be off effective June 30th. Under next announcements, our next meeting is going to be June 16th, 6 o'clock. And as we had shared before, it will be a virtual meeting. Between now and then, of course, myself and the staff, along with the mayor, will have, continued conversations around whether we go to in-person in July or whether we continue to do, virtual meetings. Nicole, am I going to cover the upcoming dates, or are you or Lorraine?
I can, and you can definitely chime in, or you can get us started.
Yeah, I can read what's on there. So,
okay.
And feel free to highlight. So, the upcoming target and comp plan date 6/1. The draft plan is made available to the public, and you can see the site there. On 6/8, a work session with the steering committee. 6/9 from 4 to 5:30, the community open house. 6 to 8, House of Levine will be remote, which will be the presentation to the council. 6/16, the House of Levine will present the draft plan to the PC, which will be a public hearing. On 7/7, the staff to present final plan to the Planning Commission, which will also be a public hearing. And then we're slated on 7/14 for the staff to present the final plan to a council for adoption.
That's
Any other light on that, Nicole?
Yeah, just a small contingency that the draft plan has not been posted yet. We're crossing our fingers and well, it will be posted tomorrow. And we will be sending out emails and posting notices for the open house and things to get the word out. The kind of tentative plan with the open house is to do this planned one from 4 to 5:30 before the council meeting next week. And then maybe do another one on Thursday or the following week, just to kind of have it open for people to make comments prior to coming to you all for public hearing on the 16th. the format, we're gonna have the community room open and posters made and maps printed in case people do want to come and look. But with COVID, it will be social distanced and people will be required to wear masks and limited people in the building at one time and all that stuff. So we're highly recommending that they attend virtually. And the same material will be made available for people virtually as in person. And House of Levine will be available during that open house as well for comments and questions. And then you all are welcome to attend both the open house and the presentation to council. That will also be virtual, and you'll be able to see the draft plan and get into it if you want. I guess any other questions or comments on the format of these things or recommendations? We're happy to mix things up.
This is Jerry. Where is the work session with the steering committee going to be? Is that going to be virtual?
It will be virtual, yes. We'll send out a meeting invite shortly, probably tomorrow or the next day.
And Nicole, I have a question on 714. If council adopts this plan, what does that include? Is that the master street plan, the trail plan? Is that any revisions to our zoning or landscape code?
It is not code. That will come after the comp plan, but it is the master street plan. It is the land use plan. It is the master trails plan, and then all the content that backs those maps up. So there's going to be written content along with those maps now that we will use to, justify our decisions and formulate that code. That is a big recommendation of the comp plan, is to start revising our code, which we have made progress on, but it's not quite done yet.
I'm not trying to hold feet to the fire, but do you know what kind of steps we have after the adoption? Let's just assume it gets passed on the 14th, before we can start making progress on the code and maybe get that implemented?
Yeah, I think we probably have, maybe Diane or Donna, you can chime in too, probably probably an 80% draft of the subdivision and development code, which includes the landscape ordinance. We kind of slowed down just a little bit to make sure that the comp plan recommendations aligned with what we were doing, and felt it was important to get that in place in the community's backing of it before we did that. But that should be our next priority, and I think it is pretty far along, so we can start moving fast on that after adoption.
Okay, perfect.
Does that help? Is that what you were hoping to hear?
That's
Okay.
exactly what I wanted to hear.
Good.
Yeah, we've got a pretty big draft of a revision to the code in the works, so we should be able to move pretty quick on it once we actually got the comp plan done and can actually focus on that.
As long as we like it.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions?
You're just excited.
Yay.
All right. Anything else from any of the commissioners or from staff? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
This is Joey. I'll make a motion to adjourn our meeting for tonight.
This is Tiffany. I'll second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Is anyone opposed?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good
Thanks.
rest of the week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.